Hello, welcome to the Snap UK. We are here at Chateau Green because it's just me and Jim today. Everyone else is.
I would say it goes from one extreme to the other, but it hasn't.
We've not got to the other extreme yet. We're just it's basically the last few weeks feel like a one-on-one conversation between me and random people on the podcast.
Keeps it fresh though.
Exactly. Yeah, and we've got the sensible person here this week. We've gone through Paul and Griff last week. We had Gary the week before. Now it's time to talk sense.
Absolutely.
And
I did like Gary's message to us this morning, and it was this morning.
He was eating curry.
Eating curry
in Bromsgrove. I had Baltimore in my head.
Bromsgrove eating curry at 10:54 a.m. And I was like,
go for him.
Well, maybe that's why you're not at the podcast, Gary.
Yeah, I mean that would kill me, legitimately. But
I struggle with curry for lunch. It's like that's an evening meal.
Yeah. I mean, I have various gut ailments, and curry at any point is a bad sign. I love it though, but yeah, no,
Doesn't love you.
Doesn't love me. He's eating curry through the Midlands. Griff is working. He's moaning.
Something about a dentist fucking up. Imagine that.
I know, who'd afford it? And Paul's, I think Paul's in London, working away, which just sounds like an excuse to me. But yeah,
I was in London today. I'm still here.
I was in Milton Keynes.
About as far.
It's less fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we talk about football? Week 5. Game of the week, on paper, 49ers, Cowboys.
I mean,
wasn't though, was it? It was an obliteration.
It was great, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I now have a soft spot. I've always kind of liked the 49ers as a historical fan. Now I have a soft spot now that they own my football team. And we share Parag Morate, who I'm now in love with. What a genius! What a man he is. You look at what Brady and his American mob are doing at Birmingham, and we seem sensible.
It's true.
And Brock Purdy and your 49ers defense,
just everything.
Epic. The only thing that worries me, I'm going to say, I think you're too good too early. You're the only team that's impressing.
That's a very fair point. I think a lot of people have made that assumption. Is like it's week 5.
Yeah.
For the first, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this because it's going to completely jinx it. But the first time ever, we haven't got an injury.
Yeah.
We got injuries, but not key injuries to key players. Like they all seem to be fit.
Yeah, I think but he's not like a long injury.
There's been a couple of niggles with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel was restricted in training for a couple of weeks, but still played.
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell.
He's out, but
I mean,
he's second, third string.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter. And I was listening to a podcast there. It's like, we shouldn't be surprised that the 49ers are playing like they are playing.
Yeah.
Because over the last 4 or 5 years, they've always been there or thereabouts. And the thing that has held them back is injuries, but also having reliable quarterback play. Now, through design or accident, and it's probably accident, they found the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's both, isn't it? It's by accident, and they have a design which he fits into perfectly, and it uses his skill set, his mindset, and it's perfect.
It's who Kyle Shanahan has been searching for since he arrived in San Francisco. And, we've been through Brian Hoyer, Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo, CJ Beathard, Trey Lance for a few 2 games.
Yeah.
They've all got injured, gone away. Brock Purdy came in at the end of last season. No one was expecting much. He's Mr. Irrelevant. Well, he's now, 14-0 in games he started and played at least 3 quarters in.
Yeah.
And I think he looks amazing. Like, his decision-making is brilliant. he's not the scrambling, running quarterback that Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hunt is, but he can move in the pocket.
He can.
And I think all 4 of his touchdowns at the weekend were from outside that pocket. He moved, evaded the pass rush, such as it was, and found his target. And what else do you want? You look at all the power rankings of quarterbacks, and I still think he's being.
I think he's being really underrated.
Yeah,
because
he's Mr. Irrelevant.
Because he's Mr. Irrelevant,
and he's not built like.
I think they can. At the moment, there's still people going, "Oh, it's the scheme. It's the scheme." And you're like, "Well, actually, it isn't the scheme because Jimmy G just always looked efficient, but not brilliant. Trey Lance looked a disaster, admittedly in awkward situations. I think
of other quarterbacks have played in the scheme.
Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo had a level of success. He got them to a Super Bowl. Although I remember that run into the Super Bowl was literally the Vikings game or the Packers game were literally just like 80% running.
Yeah.
So yes, the scheme is good and it's set up for the right type of quarterback to excel. But he's doing it. And I think if he was 6'4", 210 pounds, and he was drafted in the top 10 of top 10 overall, when he's now playing like this, we'd be like, oh my God, it's the second coming.
Yeah.
Because he's not, and because he's short, he looks small, he looks like a high school quarterback in a way. He's got a very boyish face. And because he was, last pick of the draft, everyone's like, well, there's got to be some deficiency.
Yeah, I think the story I really like, but the story is also detracting from him because, he's still behind. If you look at the MVP odds, he's behind Mahomes, which isn't unfair. Mahomes is the best player we've seen since Peyton, effectively that position.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Josh Allen is still ahead of him, and I love Josh Allen, but he does have some stupid games. Even Tua is helped by having Tyreek Hill and Joe Waddle and these buzzing running backs around him. But I don't see anything in Tua that I don't see in Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
I think he's 13-1 for MVP at the moment, Purdy, and I wouldn't bet it because I don't see them going beyond Mahomes or Allen, but it's a shame.
That's just it. I think the MVP usually comes from a team that have probably made the championship game. So you're looking at the top 2 seeds of each conference, and at the moment that's Mahomes, probably Josh Allen, probably Jalen Hurts, and at the moment it's Brock Purdy. And I think realistically, given the reputation and the general thinking around all those 3 other quarterbacks, they'll probably be above him. But look, you can't complain about what Brock Purdy's doing. I'm loving it.
Yeah. I say, in terms of efficiency, only 2 offenses in history have been better to start a season than him, which is the Tom Brady 2007 New England Patriots offense and the 2011 New England Patriots offense, which finished the season 16-0. So it's an impressive start, but as well, the defense gave. Let's move on to Dak, who is having the exact opposite season right now. He's no longer helped by this swarming, buzzing defense, which is basically was helping make up for the fact that the offense was not great first few weeks. Like against us, they didn't need to be. The offense didn't need to be good because the defense had killed us. But apart from the Patriots game, they've been poor. Throughout the season, and
they're flat trap bullies. They beat the Giants. They beat the Jets. They should have beaten the Cardinals really, and they lost that.
Yeah,
deserved to lose, and then they beat the Patriots, and we'll come on to the Patriots later. And then they've lost to the 49ers. But I think that Dak has a history of not playing up to these big games. We've seen it time and time again, and the 49ers have beaten the Cowboys a couple of times in the playoffs. Even in Dallas, he doesn't show up for them. He's not that. Okay, we've said Colin Cowherd says this a lot. Dak Prescott is Kirk Cousins with better press.
Yeah, he is. Actually, he wishes he was Kirk Cousins right now.
Yeah, I would take Kirk Cousins, and that's why that pops into my head is like, well, we lament the Kirk Cousins in prime time. Dak Prescott doesn't seem to be as good at the moment, and he's coming into a period where his contract's up for renewal. He's getting paid $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Which is still a large contract for a quarterback who comes up against a very good defense.
Yeah, goes to pot.
Goes to absolute pot. Like 14 from 24, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions.
I mean,
and you could see it like in a press conference afterwards. The guy was beaten.
He is, and he's still got a very. I mean, I don't know if it's the most expensive line because it wasn't last year, but they have upped Zach. They've upped Zach Martin's contracts to whatever. So it should be a decent line ahead of him. He's got CeeDee Lamb. That's about it.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I don't think the players around him are playing up, not helping. Like Michael Gallup, I think, has been. I don't think he's ever showed the potential.
He's never really come back from his ACL, has he? Like, there's a good player.
Yeah.
But it's just good.
Why they didn't re-sign Dalton Schultz is always been beyond me. Like, he was a good tight end, and even before that, Jason Witten playing with Dak needed a strong tight end.
Yeah.
That's right, that's fine. You don't have to pay tight ends that much.
Dalton Schultz went to like the Texans for like $5 million.
No.
That's nothing.
Exactly.
It really is nothing.
It's absolutely nothing. So whether Tony Pollard is the answer running back, but they've lost a big-bodied. As much as we think Zeke is on the way out, but at least he could run through the tackle.
Exactly.
Tony Pollard coming off that serious injury is not going to be that.
No. All their money has gone on defence as well, hasn't it? But the defence isn't
absolutely destroyed. And okay, it's got destroyed by one of the better offences, and they've lost Trayvon Diggs. But
they're on the fields as well so much now because defence is stuttering. I can't imagine. We mentioned the Jets a few weeks ago. Like, the defense must be sitting there thinking, Zach Wilson is costing us like the chance of a playoff berth here. The defense at the Cowboys probably aren't thinking this, but they are thinking, we're a championship quality defense, and we're killing ourselves because they can't move the ball.
No.
I know the 49ers defense is good, but they've lost to the Cardinals. I like how feisty the Cardinals are, but at the moment, I can't. I don't know who they've got this week, and I haven't looked at the games. Cowboys.
Cowboys got the Chargers.
You see, I don't. That's
prime time Sunday night.
Prime time. I don't know who I'd.
They're at the Chargers as well. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, but it's if Herbert has a game, they could, Keenan Allen, whatever. I don't know. I can't. This is on paper the Cowboys are the. They were almost like NFC favourites this season. And I didn't get that, having them again. However, the Eagles, never understood it.
They're now 2 games back on the Eagles in a division. And the way they're playing, do we expect them to beat the Eagles twice? I don't.
I don't even expect them to beat the Commanders twice.
Yeah.
The Commanders lost to the Bears. I think that's an aberration. I think actually the Commanders look feisty, which the Cowboys don't. The Cowboys look like they seem to win by reputation, and of course the reputation for the Cowboys is we'll be great for most of the season, then we'll fuck up in January. And at the moment they're fucking up early, so
they're getting it done early.
Yeah,
we'll just take January off.
Great. I mean, it's so. Yeah, and it's really harming Micah Parsons Defensive Player of the Year sort of quest? Because
I think he's in the running at the moment.
No.
I mean, there's plenty of time for him to get there, but there are so many other defensive players at the moment who are playing better. I put in our notes, could Fred Warner win Defensive Player of the Year?
If it's not now, it's not. I know it's only 5, but of the 5 weeks of the season so far, yes.
Yeah, but it's so rare for an off-the-ball linebacker to win it because they don't accumulate the stats of sacks or interceptions, but he is.
Yeah. Did you see the sack on Dak where he beat the offensive lineman with a move? He then blocked the
pass. He got in the passing lane.
Yeah. Then jumped to block the pass and then got the sack. And you're like, that is just the most perfect sack I've ever seen. Like, that should be taught in other dressing rooms. Like, this is what we want you to do.
He sets a standard for middle linebackers at the moment. I don't think there is any linebacker.
Oh, no one comes close.
Better than him at the moment. I always loved watching Luke Kuechly play for the Panthers, and he's up there with the way Kuechly was playing it when the Panthers were at their prime. And he's the leader of that defense. He's getting the stats. The great thing about it, he can rush the passer. He can get in those passing. But equally, if you put him against Travis Kelce, he could probably track with Travis Kelce and do a decent enough job on it. And
Absolute athlete.
I think that's what the 49ers, they're built to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking at. They're looking at that and going, right, we're going to get to the Super Bowl. We're going to play the Chiefs. And in the first half, coming into the last quarter, we're not going to be 10 points up. We're going to be 20 and 25 points up because we're going to have a stifling defense and our offense is just going to rip them apart. Yeah. Because of the rookie contract that Brock Purdy's on, they can invest all over.
Exactly.
They just traded for Randy Gregory.
I know. It also helps that Randy Gregory is being paid mostly by the Broncos.
Yeah. He's getting paid, I think $800,000 by the 40. It's basically the veteran minimum because the Broncos want to get rid of him. It just bolsters the 49ers defensive line.
Yeah, I've just looked. You still have $40 million in cap space for this year.
They've got the most cap space. And they've already said, we're going to take that into next year.
Yeah.
Like, we mentioned Parag Marfi earlier. He's fucking genius.
What he does is he takes advantage of other stupid GMs and he's doing the same for Leeds. He's taking the advantage of other poor managers. I'm not gonna lie. After years of mismanagement, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now. Yeah, he's good. Just brilliant. And but before it gets all folding, let's move on because the Bears won. It's their first win since October 2022. All those memes about the only American sports franchise to not have won since
Twitter changed its name to
Twitter
X.
became a Musk plaything. They're over.
They didn't just sneak a win.
Well, they flashed them.
They dominated the Commanders.
Yeah.
40 points.
They were not unlucky against the Broncos. They stopped playing, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. They had a really good first half and the Broncos came back. But 40 to 20?
40-20, yeah.
I woke up I don't like playing fantasy players that play on Thursday Night Football. But I do this. I was doing some hit training on Thursday. I got home. I was really tired and I fell asleep before I got a chance to move DJ Moore out my team.
Yeah, I'm glad about that.
And I woke up 49 points.
Yeah.
I'd already won 3 of my leagues because I was going not big on DJ Moore, but I was like, as a wide receiver 2, I want DJ Moore.
In our league, I got the second highest score in the whole league. only unfortunate thing, I was playing you, who got the highest score in the whole league.
It was just a weird week. I even I left Travis Etienne on the bench with 37 points. Just
rub it a bit more. But DJ Moore is a number one receiver, and they finally started getting the ball to him. And 8 receptions, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. I couldn't be happy. I love the guy. I think he's brilliant at the Panthers. I think he's criminally underrated. I think if they can keep that Justin Fields, DJ Moore, relationship, they keep building it. I also think Cole Kmet's come along a lot in this season. That's another.
I think Claypool leaving, I think, is good for the dressing room.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't believe they gave him a second. Well, it was a second round pick.
Second round pick,
first round.
It looks even worse when you only because the Dolphins lost their pick, but
they swapped 7th round picks with the Dolphins and then gave the Dolphins a 6th round pick in 2025.
Yes, nothing.
That's just a fuck off deal.
But like for Claypool, I know people are going, "Oh, he's at the Dolphins." You're like, he's been booted out of 2 teams now. This is just a chucking shit at a wall, seeing if it sticks thing for the Dolphins. But as well, they finally figured it out. Designed runs for Justin Fields, rather than just waiting for stuff to happen and then letting him run. They had designed runs this week, and they're like, suddenly Justin Fields looks really great again. And you're like, oh,
shock horror! That thing that he did really well last year, which they've stopped doing this year. All right, let's go back to that. It works.
It works.
I mean,
and in Washington just got it wrong. They
could not run the ball.
They couldn't.
Brian Robinson, and part of it is because they're chasing the game, but 6 carries to 10 yards. Nothing. Sam Howell's asked to throw it 51 times. He's and that offensive line is terrible. He's currently on track to be sacked 99 times this season.
Poor bloke.
Based on the first 5 weeks. I mean, the guy. I think he's
all right.
Been playing really well.
Of the 2022 quarterbacks, he's the best, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, quite by a way.
True.
But that it does as well. He's thrown it 51 times. I'm really upset with Ron. He seems to become really, really conservative. I don't know if he used to be more, riverboat Ron, or has the league caught up to him and suddenly, like, you've got Dan Campbell, you've got Mike McDaniels, and even Vrabel, all these players, the coaches now who are much more gung-ho, and we notice now that Ron looks a bit more conservative, or maybe he's just getting more conservative. I don't know. I don't know the stats.
There were a few short fourth downs he could have gone for.
Yeah.
Which I think he would have done when he was at the Panthers.
Yeah. Maybe that's the difference between having a Cam and Sam Howell. But
that's actually probably a fair shout. And like I said, the running game didn't help them.
No.
I know you had them as dark horses, and they're now 2 and 3.
Yeah. They I think they can be feisty, but I regret
they've lost the last 3 games.
Yeah. The loss to this was this isn't a deer,
and it's going to hurt as well because the week before they took the Eagles all the way.
Yeah.
Like they only lost by 34-31. They were scoring points.
Overtime get lost as well.
Yeah. It's the defense which at the moment. All right, you take out that first game where they beat the Cardinals 2016. They conceded 33 points to the Broncos, 37 to the Bills, 34 to the Eagles, 40 to the Bears. That's a lot of points for a defense where the defensive line has that much talent on it.
Yeah. I'm worried.
You're worried that we're going to hold you to this that comment about dark horses. And
I am.
It's going to keep haunting you for the next 18 weeks.
It might be because they. I mean, I don't know who they got this week. They have. Atlanta. I think they might get to 3-3. But it wouldn't surprise me if suddenly they let Desmond Ridder become a, prototype Tom Brady and whatever.
He didn't look terrible the other day.
No. And actually, that Atlanta defense is sneaky good in parts. But, yeah, I'm happy that the Bears won. I think Panthers now, I think, are the only team without a win. Although they're not as bad as some of the other teams. Because let's put it out there. Are the Patriots now the worst team in football?
No, I am going to say no. Because I think there are teams that are worse. Okay, yes, the Bears won.
Yeah.
But they've had some horrendous results. I'd also...
The Giants are pretty bad.
The Broncos are very bad.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to...
Panthers.
I'm worried about Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I know it's really early, but I'm not seeing anything from him. They could be in trouble. And the Patriots still have... God, they conceded 34 points to the Saints. I'm about to say they still have a decent defense, but...
Well, I think they do, but they're just on the pitch all the time.
Yeah, because we had a lot of text bouncing around about Bill Belichick, and that's...
I think
we said at the
it's going to bounce all season until they either make a decision or it gets in the season. I think it's over.
I'm almost 100% sure it is over at the end of the season. My viewpoint is rip the Band-Aid off now.
Yeah.
Because he is so ingrained within that organisation. Remember, he's the GM effectively and the head coach, and he has been there for donkey's years. All the scouting department, all the personnel department, all the coaching department is set up how he wants it set up. My theory is get rid of him now. Find a GM you can bring in who can reset all those different departments, not the coaching side of things.
Yep.
But can set up scouting, which can kick off now. It's still going to be a work in progress. And then come the end of the season, you've already got a head start on who you want to interview their head coach. Yeah. You don't have to go about going, and you don't have to do it in secret, realistically. I mean, everyone knows whoever you're going to give the job to temporarily is a temporary fix. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has got to a point where I think we've got past sort of Bill, the GM, letting down Bill, the head coach. I think
it's gone too far.
It's gone too far.
You look at the talent on that roster and, well, the lack of it. And they used to draft people and we used to go, heck, they drafted that person for, and then they turn out to be brilliant. Oh, right, fine. The last few years, when they drafted Cole Strange the other year, and you're like, who? Yeah. And it's like, what? And you look at the rest, some of their other high picks, and it's like, understand what you're doing there.
Isn't it that only in the last few drafts, the only person who got actually a second contract was Jake Bailey, the punter, and he lasted 4 more months and then got cut.
But, you look at just looking at the box score. You look at the names in it. All right, Matt Jones. I'm not a believer in him, but then you got Zeke Elliott, Ty Montgomery, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hunter Henry. These are all players that are coming on free agency. Yeah. And pretty high contracts. None of them are top-rate players anymore. No.
Actually, Juju Smith-Schuster, if I was a GM, I probably could be convinced into signing Juju. Young player still. Yeah. I mean, the story of his knees is a bit worrying, but but also you let go of Jacoby Myers, who is actually doing really well in a really limited offense in Las Vegas. Yeah, you're like, you could have just kept Jacoby Myers, who actually I thought the second half of last season was the only bright spot in the offense.
It's the adage of players that are good at New England then go somewhere else and they're crap.
It doesn't happen anymore, does it?
It's kind of reversed.
Yeah.
Players who are okay for their other teams, like Kendrick Bourne at the 49ers, he was a good piece.
Yeah.
Not a number 1 or even a number 2, but a decent receiver. He's now being asked to be that top receiving threat.
He's not here.
Devontae Parker was always number 2 to Odell Beckham. Sorry, not Odell Beckham. Landry in Miami. But again, he's not a number 1. Juju Smith-Schuster never really been a number 1.
He had Antonio Brown, and then at Kansas, you're always number 2 to Kelsey.
Yeah. Hunter Henry was, we thought Hunter Henry could be an amazing tight end when he took over from Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
Never really did it. Mike Gesicki never really did it for Miami.
And they did spend a lot. Remember, they spent a lot of money on him and Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith, once again,
gone,
fucked off for nothing back over to Atlanta. Like, I like. I still don't think Bill the defensive mastermind, I think, is still there in some ways, but like since Brady left, handing the offense to Matt Patricia and Joe Judge was just appalling.
It's bad management.
It is bad management, and I know it has to be. I think he's won 6 Super Bowls for you. Like you could, how many wins? I think it's how many wins away from the all-time record?
It's like 50 or something.
50, something like that. But it has to be handled carefully. But he's making the decision easier and easier for Robert Kraft each week.
I'm kind of thinking it doesn't have to be handled carefully.
Well, if you're Bill, when do you get to a point where you're like, I think I have to make the decision for them here?
I think he's almost too stubborn to do that. But I don't know. I'm not a Patriots fan, but if I was, I'd be looking at this season going, I'd look at it going, all right, I thought it was not Bill versus Tom, but out of the two of them, I thought it was at least level pegging. Now I'm thinking, maybe it's a bit more Tom than it was Bill, because he's gone somewhere else. He's had success.
Won. Yeah.
Bill's just gone down the hill. And you're looking at what's happened since Tom Brady left, and it's like, well, I don't know what's happening. I can't figure out what the game plan is. And if you're a Patriots fan and you're used to winning over the last 20, 25 years, and that suddenly you're now at best third in that division by a distance against the Bills and the Dolphins.
Yeah. As well,
it's like, start again.
I do think it is time. I think Bill was, McDaniel was there, but he was able to bring new coaches in, and he had this. But the peak sort of team, Skarnecki left in 2019. McDaniels left in 21. Like, Patricia went to the Lions, and when he came back, it was
as offensive coordinator.
It seems he can't get the right people in anymore as well. I think also because you can bring in Bill O'Brien, but that's a reputation saving thing. He's got to re-earn his.
Had to.
He can't come in and you look at what the 49ers have got at defensive coordinator. You look at what the Lions have, Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator, who's clever mind. The Patriots don't have that. They don't. He's not bought wide receivers. He's not kept up with the league, I think is the thing.
I think that's exactly it. He's not kept up.
Yeah. I don't want it, but it feels very much like, remember when Clough left Forest and they held on because he's Brian Clough, but they went down.
Yeah.
And I know he can't get relegated in NFL, but it feels very much like someone needs to. he needs to go or they need to make a decision.
Ironically, though, Brian Clough always, when you're dealing with players, he always used to have the mantra as like, it's better to sell them a year early than a year late.
Yeah, but
I think the Patriots are at that.
Yeah,
it might be a year late.
I think it does feel a year late, and I'm sure Kraft will make the decision because he doesn't want to.
I was going to say, it's not like they have the coziest of relationships either.
No.
So I think for Kraft, I think he'd probably be quite happy to get rid of Bill.
Yeah. But yeah, New Orleans, they were playing against garbage, but actually they're not as bad this season as I thought they'd be.
Michael Thomas is back.
Yeah.
Sneakily.
Alvin Kamara is, he's back from his ban and looks, he's not as good as he was before, but he's still a difference maker.
Now holds the record for the most touchdowns in Saints history.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But
Saints, I don't know what to make of the Saints yet.
No.
It's too early to tell.
It is too early. It is. That whole division is just mental to me.
Both the NFC South and the AFC South I find quite difficult to make out.
Yeah. I think it'll be week 15 and I'm still going, I don't know. All four of them could make the playoffs.
Do you know what? It could happen because, especially in the AFC South.
Yeah.
All right. I think the Jags might have turned a corner now. We'll see next week. But, they've lost some games which we'd expect them to win. The Titans, I don't think we expected the Titans to be good, but they've actually won some games which I thought they'd lose. The Colts look really good, actually.
The Colts look really good, but I don't know if having to change your quarterback every other game is going to start taking effect.
And, the Texans look a lot better than we thought they would.
Yeah. I've said it before. They look feisty.
Feisty's a good word.
Yeah. Well, should we mention with the Jags? Because they won again in London. It was... I didn't expect them to beat the Bills. I imagine if it was played in America, the Bills would have won. The Bills only travelled... They got to London on Friday.
Yeah, that was their first mistake.
Yeah. I think the Jags obviously stayed here from the week before, but they do travel to the UK well. I think they get acclimatised.
Yeah, it's not like this phenomenon of playing in London is a new thing in the NFL. Like, we've been doing it since 2005, 6, 7?
Yeah, 2007, I think.
7, yeah. And yeah, we did go through that period of like some teams would come a week earlier, some teams would come later. I would have thought most teams by now could have figured it out what the best. And the Bills to come over on Friday, I think that's just...
And dumb. And it looks like the first half they looked appalling. There. And as well, it's not just a loss for them. They lost Matt Milano, who's been brilliant this season.
That is,
he's.
we talked about Fred Warner. Matt Milano is Fred Warner for the Bills. He's experienced. He's having it. He's one of those players that is always having a good season, and no one ever. I remember Pro Bowl voting last, and he didn't get the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
he's been amazing. He's not a flash name.
No,
but by God, he gets the job done.
He I mentioned a couple of weeks, he was mossing people for 2 or 3 weeks this season. Just brilliant, interceptions. And I think Rap Sheet was when he went. He's got a fractured leg. Going for MRI, maybe out for season. You're like, fractured leg? Yes, he's out for the season. Let's not. That's a that's a bad injury. I know the ligament things may come on add extra time to it, but that is a bad injury. But as well to Quan Jones. So in Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano, and Daquan Jones, that's their 4th, 7th, and 13th highest paid players this season they've lost in a week. And I did look; it was the equivalent of the 49ers losing, I think it was Fred Warner, McCaffrey, and someone else, like an inconsequential defending player. I was like, oh yeah, it's big news. It should be like they you know, and yeah, we got a DM from someone who attended the game because we were quite critical of, not critical, I think, but we were, the Wembley crowd is very polite. Is the nice word, and you know, apparently the Bills brought the noise, which is really cool because you know, we have, I guess the Brits have a stereotype of being quite polite and, you know, staid, which is weird because whenever I go to a sports game, it's absolute pandemonium.
It's weird, but we've also got a history of soccer
hooliganism. Yeah, but yeah, you go to a game and it's good
well
play,
played.
well played.
It's more like cricket than it is football.
But yeah, they'll take the snap and there's silence, and you know, you compare that. You're like, we and Jim were talking earlier, when we watched with Eagles fans, and the Eagle fans bring noise, and actually I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles fans were very obnoxious,
they're annoying,
very loud, and very annoying. But actually, looking back on it, now you've said that, it creates an atmosphere.
It's an atmosphere. Yeah,
I've gone to watch a sporting event. I want to see parties.
There's no fucking Mexican waves when that's happening.
No,
because everyone's getting involved in what's happening, and you know, it's annoying that there's always some like 15-year-old Burks trying to start a Mexican wave. You're like, fuck off. You know, do it. Yeah. So, but a better game than the Wembley one.
Well, so it was. Thank you, Nathan Rudge, for writing in. He did say that, yeah, he felt that the Bills fans in London were on another level. And, you know, we were also chatting before, it's like, maybe it is a thing where, you know, you see the Bills fans in Buffalo and they're tailgating and they're throwing each other through tables and they're a bit crazy, and they turn up and they clear the snow off the bleachers and they go and sit there, which I think is absolutely mental, but, you know, massive kudos to them. And they're lively. And then you look at, you know, Jacksonville Stadium, which struggles to sell out every week. Yeah. And you're like, maybe it is a culture thing between the two different sets of fans. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe it is a London thing where actually the London Jags fans are a little bit, they just haven't had that experience of going to Jacksonville, going to an American football.
I imagine as well, if you're a Jags fan, you are a new fan, and it's all, you aren't as, I don't want to say steeped, but like, you know, if I was getting into the game and I saw like the Bills Mafia jumping through tables, and you know, Josh Allen, all that to me is an exciting thing to. Yeah. If I was a new fan, I'd be like, I'd probably want to support the Buffalo Bills, or you know, I find it hard to get excited about the Jags. But maybe that's just because I feel like I've also.
They've got. I still think they've got a really good team. They've got a great quarterback. I think Trevor Lawrence had a great game on Sunday.
He did. Calvin Ridley was so open all the time. It's like, what a trade that's been. How the Falcons could use Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. At the same time, he probably needed a fresh start.
Yeah. Oh, it's been great for him. It's just lovely to see him back.
Etienne as well, an amazing game.
Yeah, because he was quiet the week before. They bottled him up.
Just carved through the Bills' defence.
Yeah.
And look, it ended up a close game. It ended up, you know, the Bills were basically, you know, they're driving to try and get a win at the end, which is what you want for entertainment-wise, probably more so than the week before. And I think that also creates the atmosphere when it is a tight, tense game. And you are kind of sitting there at the end on the edge of your seat, and unfortunately, you know, Etienne then kind of basically kills the game off.
Yeah, but it's good. And yeah, they've got our final London game this coming week. We've got
Ravens-Titans.
Ravens-Titans.
I wouldn't be excited for that.
No, they're both. I think it's going to be a sloppy game.
Yeah.
But, you know, as well, actually, it'll be exciting to see Lamar and, you know, can the Titans get Henry moving? Like, two teams built on two big personalities. But it doesn't excite me at all. But, I, you know, if you're going, I hope it's good. I'm sure it will be. And I've not been to the Tottenham Stadium, so I'm jealous because I think as well. I think if you can make some noise, that stadium is designed to keep the noise in, which is kind of cool. Whereas Wembley feels very vast and open, and it is. It is big. It is big. But yeah, should we mention the Ravens because they somehow lost? They were. It was a bad week for Lamar, wasn't it? Well, they started off fine, and then
the way they started, I think they scored the first touchdown pretty early on. I'm like, this is going to be a walk.
Yeah. Well, they were doing fine until the Steelers blocked a punt.
Yeah.
Which went out for a safety. Could have been a touchdown if he'd have just got the elbows down in an inch in, but they just capitulated. Defensively, offensively, it was sloppy.
I mean, Lamar Jackson wasn't helped. There were so many drops, or misses by his receivers. Like Zay Flowers, he had 11 targets and he had 5 receptions, and at least 3 of those receptions were passes that you could have caught.
Let's not go too far.
Yeah, I mean, and 2 of them could have gone for touchdowns. And I think there was another one to Mark Andrews who
normally
uncharacteristically missed. So yeah, it's just something feels like it's just not clicking.
Yeah. And
I don't know what it is, and I don't know. It just doesn't. Something just doesn't feel right at the Ravens.
No.
They've still got a decent. They're 3-2, but I don't think they've been very convincing for the year. I mean, you look at Dolphins, even the Bills have got a similar record, but actually their wins have been good wins, and even their losses have been probably games they should have won.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ravens, I'm like, all right, you lost this game and it was your own fault. You look at the other game they lost against the Colts, 22-19. If you're a team with aspirations to get to the Super Bowl, which I think the Ravens should be, you shouldn't be losing to the Colts. And you shouldn't be losing to this Steelers team. Like Kenny Pickett has beaten you.
Yeah. I mean, Kenny Pickett is,
average.
He's just average. George Pickens, though, does look special.
They need to get the ball to George Pickens.
Yeah. I think basically that's all. I was hoping for a bit more from Washington, the tight end, but it does feel as well like that's probably going to be hard with that quarterback because, I mean, even when Pickens does make a catch, they're all really spectacular because
he's capable of making those spectacular catches. I think which works well with a quarterback who you're not convinced by.
Exactly.
Because he needs to be. I think the other thing is that they've stumbled upon a running back in Jalen Warren who his numbers are so much better than the G. Harris's.
Yeah.
He had 9 carries for 40 yards. G. Harris had 14 carries for 37 yards.
It's a shame.
It's just not.
It's not working, is it? No. And it started so well that first year. He was so good.
And this is now the second season where it's just not working. And if there's another running back who's getting better production from, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
And he would have gone early in a lot of fantasy drafts still as well because I think people would assume that he's back.
Yeah, I think people would assume the offensive line's better, and I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, top two round pick.
Yeah, and but isn't it so Mike Tomlin that they're playing bad? They're not even very good on defense this year, but
still winning.
They're still winning. They've got a winning record.
I mean, they're at top of the AFC North at the moment.
Of course they are.
They're 3-2. They're level with the Ravens, but they're beating the Ravens. That's the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and because it's a Mike Tomlin fucking Steelers. That's what happens. They're shit.
Points for 70.
Then you're like, shit, why are they in the playoffs?
Yeah, points for 79, points against 110. Baltimore, points for 109, points against 75.
For fuck's sake. Yeah.
This is what I mean by the Ravens are losing games, which they really need to be winning.
Yeah. It's both these teams, I don't think we're able to judge properly until like 2 or 3 weeks before the playoffs, and suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, no, these are going to probably get in by accident.
I think the AFC North is going to be all 4 teams are in it until the end.
Oh God, yeah, I'm totally with you there.
Because
but absolutely, completely different versions of quality. Like, I think the Ravens feel very up and down, up and down. The Steelers feel very mid, and you're like, can that be enough to be a get them past?
They get to like the equivalent of 8 and 8.
Yeah,
Hopefully they'll sneak in.
Yeah, are the Bengals back?
Yeah,
because suddenly Jamar Chase has a game.
Joe Burrow had a game as well.
Yeah,
it looked like he was moving better on Sunday. He actually moved.
Well, that's it, because he hasn't been doing that at all for a few weeks.
I think in Cleveland's defense has been brilliant.
So brilliant, but Deshaun Watson...
Deshaun Watson's been injured and he's still doubtful for the 49ers game at the weekend. And
no one's lost a piece of their team as big as Nick Chubb as well.
Yeah.
That's, really interesting. But yeah, well, talking about injuries, I went and looked at, because after the Bills game, I started picking out my All-Pro team for the season based on injured players. This is 5 weeks. I've tried not to pick players who got injured before the season. So this is I have had to, because
there's a limit.
The quality at safety, for instance, is pretty low.
Yeah.
So I had to go for someone who got injured just before the season. So at quarterback in our All-Pro injured 11. Aaron Rodgers, of course, only lasted 4 snaps.
Yep.
And at running back, Nick Chubb.
Yep.
Really obvious. At wide receiver, I wrote this down on Monday, and Justin Jefferson went to injured reserve on today, was it? Or last night?
I think he officially went today. But
officially.
It was like, he's injured.
On Monday, looks like he was going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I had T. Higgins, Christian Watson, and Treylon Burks. Of course.
You put Justin Jefferson in there instead of Treylon Burks.
Exactly,
and, that 1-2 of Jefferson and T. Higgins.
I mean...
Wow.
And the thing is as well, like for the Bengals this week, with T. Higgins gone, you thought, does that make life harder for Jamar Chase? Because suddenly, you could just double coverage. And they did put him in double coverage, and he just...
Still got Tyler Boyd there. Just back on your running back point, though, I agree Nick Chubb is the running back.
Yeah.
But, you've got also Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, and now Devon Achane.
Yeah.
Achane,
yeah. It's so...
That's a first round of fancy
running backs. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, God...
Like you throw Derrick Henry in there and Christian McCaffrey, and you've got the full set.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I hope we don't see them, because it is literally the first... You've got last year's touchdown leader, Saquon, who came back last year. Aaron Jones is elite, just mental. Tight end, we've got Greg Dulcich.
Yeah,
it's not much, but
yeah.
There hasn't been a huge injury. Like, Njoku's been missing a bit of the season. It's not great. At tackle, I couldn't have Teron Armstead, Laumi Tunsil, because I've got David Bakhtiari at left tackle, which is just immense. Like, what a difference his as well. I think I put him in because there's been a bit of a story, like if we're going to.
Is it the turf with the grass?
Is it the turf with the grass? But it turns out
just injured.
At guard, Cam Jurgens from the Eagles, Elijah Vera Tucker from the Jets. With Kessenberry at centre, and at right tackle, Andrew Thomas, who, let me tell you, the Giants are missing terribly. And on defence, tackle, I've got Fletcher Cox, Daquan Jones, and Cameron Hayward. Edge, Joey Bosa and Matt Judon. Linebackers, Matt Milano, Shaq Leonard. Cornerbacks, Tre'Davious White, Christian Gonzalez, Trevon Diggs. And that means I didn't include Emmanuel Mosley, because he got injured this weekend. And Jalen Ramsey, who got injured pre-season. But that's just mental. And at safety, Buda Baker.
Yeah, and you look at that full team, you're like, all right, they'd do well. That'd be a good team.
Yeah,
Do you think we have had more injuries this year? Or do we say that every year?
I think we say that every year. I do. I don't know if... I do think the lack of pre-season...
Yeah. Conditioning.
Conditioning, I don't think it helps.
It's not just pre-season. I think it's with all the changes to training camps and the amount of padded practice and contact practice that they're allowed to have during the pre-season.
I agree.
It doesn't prepare them and their bodies for... season starts, and I think that's also why you have some teams who do start slowly in the year. Bengals could be a prime example.
Yeah.
Patriots always used to start slowly.
Yeah, but I do think because of the changes, but also no one plays their players in pre-season because you don't want them to get injured. But that means they aren't getting conditioned to proper playing conditions, and you will get these probably. What we'll start to see is more early season injuries to big players because none of those guys would have been in pre-season. Maybe Greg Dulcich, but they wouldn't have been playing. Christian Gonzalez maybe as a rookie cornerback. They are, but yeah, they're expected to go from sort of 30 to 100 instantly by season start. And you look at Joe Burrow, he's having really slow starts to the season. He's missing camp because of injuries, because of illness, and I don't know if they could have got him up to speed outside of playing games. Would that have helped the Bengals? I don't know, but I started putting players together. I was like, shit.
When I saw it, I was like, whew.
Yeah.
That's a good team.
So, some news. We mentioned Chase Claypool traded to Miami, a swap of 7th round picks, and then they got a 6th round pick. It's just basically get him off, get him away.
Yeah.
J.C. Jackson traded to the Patriots. For any new GM coming in, you must be going, look at that going, fuck, you've got to pay that for the next 4 years, 3 years.
Well, I'm not sure they have. I think a lot of it's been paid by the Chargers still.
It seemed a toxic situation. It seemed they were just he was not dressed for games.
Yeah, I think not week 5, but week 4, he effectively refused to go on the pitch.
Yeah,
he was like, no, not going on.
Yeah,
he was out most of last year injured. I think he's been paid $38 million so far for 4 games or something stupid like that.
Good for him. Get your money.
He goes back to the Patriots, obviously, because he started there. And, Gonzalez gone now.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But, we mentioned Randy Gregory. He's traded to the 49ers from the Broncos.
Another 6th round pick.
Nothing, once again. I think that situation there also seemed...
I think he was literally about to be released.
Yeah.
I think they'd been trying to shop him. Nothing was happening. Because I heard a report that he had been released. Apparently he hadn't.
I heard the report he was being released.
And then obviously the 49ers have gone, we just give them nothing. We just jump the queue effectively. And he comes in. And it's like,
Well, can do it before he clears waivers. Then
Yeah, exactly.
Running back news. Jonathan Taylor got a new contract. And finally a running back gets signed. $42 million?
3 years. 3 years, $42 million.
Not bad. It's not great, but
I think that's fair for.
I think it's good for what
a running back who he's had one good season, one excellent season, and he's had one injury plagued season.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably still question marks about him. I don't think that injury plagued season was all down to him. I think that was a defensive line that was just
appalling, wasn't it?
Terrible. I find the timing a little bit odd. I find the whole situation a little bit
It
odd.
does feel odd.
Because he was holding out, then he was injured.
Then he got permission to seek a trade.
Yeah.
Got really no interest from, I think
he got interest, but I think the price
was
too high. I think, what did the Dolphins ask for? Jalen Waddle and something else as well.
But the Dolphins. Dolphins were asked for Jalen Waddle and I think a first rounder or something.
And that's just that's not happening for a running back in this market. So then he comes back off injury reserve. It's great. And then literally he signed a new contract. It's like, well, why didn't you do this in July?
It does feel odd. And I've just read about Jim Irsay saying he didn't want to sign him this early. Like I think he wanted to hold out, but you've accidentally stumbled upon a half decent team here in a division.
Yeah, and I also think like Shane Steichen has done a great job at the Colts. I actually think we ridicule the what's his face at the at the Cardinals, but again, I think that he's actually done a good job at the Cardinals, begrudgingly. But Steichen is like, that Colts team was dire, and okay, yes, they got Anthony Richardson, and that's another topic. He's not been there for quite a bit of time now.
Yeah.
He's doing it with Gardner Minshew. The defense looks back to where the defense was.
Exactly.
The defensive line is better. Like Zach Moss had an amazing game behind that defensive line at the weekend. And, I think Shane Steichen's like, look what I've just done with Zach Moss and that. Imagine, because now we've got, Gardner Minshew, and I know Taylor was signed before Anthony Richardson went down, but imagine as Zach Moss, Anthony Richardson, and Jonathan Taylor, what we could be achieving.
Yeah, that's it. Zach Moss has been really, really good, and to have the choice of Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor, it just helps, confuses.
I think Gardner Minshew is one of the best backups in the league. I think you can see a situation where they have both running backs on the field at the same time, and you've got teams are going to have no idea what's going on. Because what did Shane Steichen do with the Eagles? The Eagles game was all about running.
Yeah.
All right. And you might not have Anthony Richardson to have that Jalen Hurts role anymore because he's now on injured reserve. But, hey, you've got two really good running backs.
He does. And, if they can get Richardson back, and I think as well, if they can, it turns out like Paul was really close to it when he said he's watching him for week one going, that's RG3, because people compared him to Cam. He's not built like Cam. He is not as...
Yeah, he's not as sturdy.
He's not as sturdy. If they can help build some muscle, and it'll get to a point where when he's got the ball, he's got Zach Moss, Taylor, or he can run himself. Like that could be really, really exciting to watch.
The comparison to RG3 I get, but I also worry about it from the physical fitness point of view as well. This is now his third injury. He was injured pre-season, where he missed some time. He had the concussion injury.
Yeah, this was a shoulder.
I mean, his arm was basically hanging off.
Yeah.
That worries me because he also, remember, 13 games at Florida. He's not been exposed to a full season.
Yeah.
Like, what can his body handle over 17 games in the NFL? I don't think anyone really knows because you've got no history to back it up from college.
Yeah.
And we say it with Tua, don't we? Where, he's been out, he's had all these injuries, and even as well as he's playing now, if Griff was here, he'd still be sitting there going,
there's an injury waiting.
He's an injury away. I hate to say it, but at the moment, I'm veering towards that with Anthony Richardson as well.
Yeah.
Because the hit he took wasn't a big hit.
No. It's just a standard, a defensive player landing on top of him.
Fell a bit awkwardly.
And that's going to happen a lot with the type of player he is. So it does worry me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, yes. Well, we can go on to that another time. But sad news. Dick Butkus died, aged 80. It's been actually a bad year because, some of the big names of NFL have got we lost Jim Brown this year, Dick Butkus.
For me, he was the defensive version of Jim Brown in a sense. I'm just going to read through his career highlights. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time First Team All-Pro, 3-time Second Team All-Pro, 8 Pro Bowls, George Halas Award, 1960s All-Decade Team, 1970s All-Decade Team, 75th Anniversary All-Time Team, 100th Anniversary All-Time Team. His number 51 shirt's been retired. He's won the 100 Greatest Bears of all time. He's he was the Big Ten most valuable player in 1963, and he's in the Hall of Fame in 1979, I believe. He's one of those players where you can't talk about the history of the game, and especially on the defensive side, without talking about Dick Butkus.
Yeah. And, I mean, up until recently, it feels like Chicago is still built in
that kind of image.
In that image, yeah. It's, it's hard-hitting, it's smash-mouth football. And, he retired in 74, So, like Jim Brown as well, actor, like lots of appearing, like shows, MacGyver, Murder, She Wrote, Love Boat. Like, these are shows I've never watched because I didn't grow up in America.
I heard you're a big fan of Love Boat.
I mean, I do like Murder, She Wrote. I will say it was quite fun when I was
but a boy.
In between jobs, I think is the best way to put it.
I always associate it with one of those programs that you watch when you're ill off school.
Yes.
It's always on, like, after Neighbours
yes.
or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so, like, actually, but he was in Any Given Sunday as well, which is a film I have watched. One of the coaches in that.
I forgot to say, he's also the Butkus Award for the best linebacker in American college.
Yes.
Obviously, it's named after him.
Of course it is.
Because he set that standard.
Exactly. And yeah, so much missed. Much love to his family and all that. Russ Francis, someone I don't know too much about.
Yeah, I know more about him because he's a former 49er. He won the Super Bowl with the 49ers. He was also a New England Patriot tight end. If you ever read anything about those great 49er teams in the kind of 80s and early 90s, he's one of those players who just kind of stands out as just this massive character. Like he had a pilot's license. He used to fly everywhere, much to Bill Walsh's absolute horror. He jumped out of planes. His whole mantra was like just living life on the edge every single day. And there are so many stories about things that he did, which Bill Walsh would have tearing his hair out. He's also, he's a two-time second team All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowl. He hasn't got that kind of lustrous history, but it's such a big character.
Yeah.
And I think, when you look at him playing on the field, he was so important to that West Coast offense as well. He's kind of like one of those pieces that is probably underrated because at that point in time, the tight end wasn't a real fashionable, but players like kind of, Jerry Rice and Roger Craig wouldn't have got the stats that they got without Russ Francis being there. And he's not in the Hall of Fame, but he's in the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah. And,
which I didn't even know existed until I read his biography.
My brother probably knows him because he was at WrestleMania 2. He was in the 20-man battle.
That's right. He was also a professional wrestler.
Yeah, bloody hell. That's incredible. Oh God, he was killed in a plane crash. Bloody hell. Yeah. Well, I'm going to read up because that sounds. I love the fact that sounds a character, and we don't have enough of people like that anymore.
This is a very sweeping generalisation. There seems to be a lot of tight end characters.
Yeah, it does.
Especially nowadays. But even back in the day, you look at like Mike Dichter.
Yeah. But I think it is over the years. Shannon Sharp, good character. Yeah.
It was the Giants tight end as well. I'm looking up his name. Mark Bavaro.
Okay.
Broke his jaw and carried on playing. He basically played a game with his jaw wide shut.
Oh my God.
The 49ers in one of the championship games, but of that like Bill Parcells era. I think, now we've got Kittle, we've got Kelsey.
Yeah.
Ultimate characters. I think there must be some screw loose to be it.
I think possibly to be if you were sensible, you'd be a receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you were boring, you'd be a lineman.
Yeah.
So it must be
somewhere in between.
Those nutcases go in between. So let's go look at the lineup this week because Thursday night football, Denver, Kansas.
I put a note in here.
Yeah.
Why is Thursday night football
Thursday night
so
football's
bad?
fucking awful,
It was
isn't it?
bad last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. And there may be...
I can
there
see...
may be a bit of fortunate because there have been injuries which have kind of ruined something. Named the Jets, who have got a load of primetime games.
Yeah.
Now really, it should be moved. But Denver, I think they're expecting bigger things from Sean Payton.
2 years now. This is the second year they're expecting big things from Denver. They got a lot of Thursday night games last year. And, yeesh. Yeah. It might be something we can do. We can look into it maybe for next week or something. Because, is it that bad? I don't know. Because it feels bad, but only because they're much worse than Sunday night games.
Yeah, even last week, like Bears Commanders.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how that ever got to Thursday night football in the first place?
Well, once again, it feels like the Bears' big fan base, Commanders. This is new feeling about the Commanders, but although can I just say, for if you just spent $7 billion on a new team, and you're losing at halftime, you're there laughing in the stands. It's not a good look.
It's not.
No.
But I think they know they're
there.
There's going to be changes, isn't there?
Exactly. So, any games you're looking forward to this week?
Now there was one. I can't remember what one it was.
Can I say Detroit Tampa?
Okay.
Because I'm
talk
big
about Detroit a little.
We haven't talked about Detroit. I think they might be the third best team in the NFC.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
And Gary's not going to like that.
No, but they are so much better than the Cowboys right now.
Yeah. Oh, if it was Cowboys Lions this week, I'd be saying Lions.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and technically, don't hold me to this by the end of the season. This is very much a week 5 judgment. I think they might be slightly better than the Eagles right now.
Ooh.
Because I don't think the Eagles have started that well. I think in red zone offense, they're appalling. Defensively, they're fine. But they're sneaking past teams. It doesn't feel like they're as good as last year. Was when Detroit get it right, and admittedly, they don't do it every week, but when they do, they obliterate teams.
Yep.
Jared Goff, when he signed it, or felt transitional quarterback, get someone else in, he'll get you through. He's earned at least Dak money, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'd say what he's done has meant that the Lions had a lot of draft capital off the back of that trade, and obviously kind of their own draft picks as well. What he's done has meant that they don't have to draft a quarterback.
Nah.
High in the draft, at least. They don't have to get one of these kind of first round quarterbacks. It's like we can spend the draft capital, we can spend the money elsewhere. I think he's better than Dak.
Oh yeah, right now,
I think
and he's doing it without
Amon-Ra St. Brown,
who didn't play this week. Mate,
you got Amon-Ra St. Brown to come back. Jameson Williams has got to come back as well, and I think he could be really good.
He basically played one snap last year,
and
scored a touchdown.
But also, look at what they're getting out of David Montgomery.
Yeah, Jameer Gibbs wasn't there this week, was he? It was just him.
Yeah.
And
I like Montgomery coming out of college. I thought actually Bears, that could be a really good fit. For whatever reason, bad coaching, it never worked. He's gone there. They got rid of DeAndre Swift, who I think is still a good player, but had injury problems. I understood it. They replaced him with a player who we've probably all gone a bit, and he looks brilliant.
It looks absolutely great. It'd be interesting to see what they do with Goff.
I'm going to say Cardinals at LA Rams.
Yeah.
Not the sexy pick, but these two teams are intriguing me at the moment because, like we said, the Cardinals, feisty.
Yeah.
I think Josh Dobbs is playing brilliantly. The Rams, Cooper Kupp came back at the weekend and just looked like Cooper Kupp again.
Yeah.
And then you've got him matched with Puka Nacua, who is getting
Matt Stafford still looks...
Yeah.
He's an older quarterback, still fine. Absolutely brilliant.
I have Cooper Kupp in our Dynasty League, and I left him on the bench thinking, they're just going to ease him in.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Yeah.
Luckily, my bench was on fire, but so was my first team, and I managed to beat Gary.
Nice. To a battle of the 1-4 teams. Minnesota versus Chicago.
This is big in the NFC North, isn't
really big. And Minnesota are going in without Jefferson. I mean, yeah.
I've liked Jordan Addison, the rookie wide receiver. And, he had 2 good games to start off the season. Got a bit quieter.
Yeah.
Now's his chance he has to step up. I think there could be, if you're looking at fantasy points, Hawkinson and Addison could be absolutely winning in. Because I still don't think the Bears' defense is that great.
No.
I think, for me, that's a Vikings win. But I wouldn't be surprised if the opposite happened.
And Eagles against the Jets. So now we see if Zach Wilson is developing as a...
Yeah, because he had his best game probably in his career last week. Unfortunate to lose it in a sense. But again, that Jets defense...
Yeah, it's going to be different from the Broncos one, isn't it?
It's going to cause Philadelphia some problems.
Yeah.
Now, they'll score more points than New York, I expect. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
No.
Probably would have expected.
But, yeah, Carter for the Eagles. He's making a mockery of the teams that didn't pick him, really, isn't it? But, yeah.
Winless Panthers at Miami.
Yeah. 0-6, Carolina. It's fine. There were worse teams. Just, yeah. Go to our weekly awards. Biggest balls of the week. I really liked the Panthers play Rondell Moore in Wildcat, pretending to hand it off to Marquise Brown, running through. There wasn't really any sort of big ballsy play, but to call that's quite...
That's fair. I can't think of any others that really... I think actually, playing Cooper Kupp so early and relying on him so much, I think that took some balls, especially as he's such a big, important part of your offense, just coming back from injury. But hey, look, he looked like Cooper Kupp again.
Yeah, and the shriveled balls to...
Riverboat
Rom and is it Jack Del Rio is the defensive coordinator, just to keep calling blitzes on
Mike McCarthy's probably got some shriveled.
Exactly, yeah. Sweetest player of the week. I did love the 2 double reverses. So for one for Laporta, one for Kittle,
and one for Kittle. Yeah, they were 2 very. I mean, they were exactly the same.
Yeah. Oh, literally. I think Kittle's even said. He was sat watching the game and he went, "We've got the same players that we should probably call it before everyone else starts to think." So I can't think of much better than that. Maybe the Pinnock 102-yard. Which is our only good thing that we did.
I'm going to say you brought it up earlier. Fred Warner sack.
Oh yeah. What fuck it. Fred Warner sack. We don't give enough to the we don't give enough love to the defense. If us two aren't going to give love to the defense, no one's going to give love to the defense.
Like a stat line, by the way, Sam Laporta's got more touchdowns in his career than Kyle Pitts.
I mean, we called it though, didn't we? We were big on Laporta. So and these tight ends. So good. Massive fan of Laporta. Hottest seat. Ooh. I mean, it's Bill, isn't it? It feels he's getting it every week, but Bill Belichick is...
We do flip between them a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's actually got it. He's got a hottest seat award.
I'm still also going to add in Matt Canada, the Pittsburgh offensive coordinator.
He's being rescued by some sloppy play from other teams at the moment.
He's also being rescued by his defense as well.
Yeah. Does the Steelers play this week? I think they're on bye, which is good because TJ Watt has got an injured hand, so it gives him some time to recover because they are in desperate need of him. And MVP of the week, I'm going to give that to... I know Jamar Chase was great, but Jamar Chase is great anyway. But DJ Moore, get in the first win.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
Yeah.
Even though he scored 49 points against me.
Let's not be bitter. But yeah. If you go into the game, the Baltimore, Tennessee, have a great time. Let us know how you found it. Because Because, yeah.
Literally let us know how you found it, because the Tottenham Stadium is miles from anywhere.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, have a good week, and hopefully there'll be more of us here next week.
No guarantee.
No guarantee, but yeah, have a good one.